Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality. The cream of the crop!
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Jeff and I will be your host today. Joining me in the studio are Ken and Neal. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
Not too much. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good. Today we're changing the format, so it's like The Game with Michael Douglas, the Fincher movie, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. It's a good ending. If you don't know the ending, don't look it up. Just watch the movie. Yeah.
Good start.
Yeah, good start.
And joining me through the interwebs, I'll start with our cruiserweight champion, Laura Scafati. How are you doing today, Laura?
Hey, good. How are you?
And you're coming to us from Dover, New Hampshire. That's correct?
That's right.
All right. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into trivia, and how you found our show?
Sure. So how I got into trivia, I started going to a bunch of trivias in 1 week. It was a trivia pub crawl back when I lived in Manchester, New Hampshire. So we went to a bunch of them, and then from there I just really started loving trivia, started seeking out podcasts to do with trivia, and that was back in 2014. So
Sounds like a serious test of your trivia medal and also your sobriety. Because you're going from
it's
one
true.
to another, doing one trivia after another. Oh, man.
Yeah, we can barely keep on top of the one we try to go to a week.
And this is just coffee.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and you'll see Laura in 2019 on the zombie trivia pub crawl where everyone's dressed as zombies doing trivia on a pub crawl.
I would be totally on board for that. Let's do this. All right. And also joining us, our Intercontinental Champion, William Travis, coming from Irving, Texas. How you doing, William?
Hey, great to be on.
I'm glad to have you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and, your backstory, how you got into trivia and the like?
So I'm a tax attorney from Irving, Texas. Getting into trivia, during high school, I did probably the dorkiest trivia variant ever. I was on the Curtamen team in Latin class.
Oh.
So basically, they will ask you a whole bunch of questions about Latin, Roman history. They'll ask some questions in Latin, and you buzz in. It's kind of like if you ever saw that movie, The Emperor's Club.
Yep.
Except it wasn't dorky enough that we had to wear togas or anything. But yeah, so that was my sort of quiz bowl equivalent that I got into.
Lucky for
in
you,
high school.
Jeff's questions are all Latin related today.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, I took Latin.
We're in trouble.
They were in big trouble. It's appreciated that you're wearing a toga today on camera.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't prove otherwise.
Well, right. You guys chose a great name for your team. Why don't you let us know what that is?
So it's a death and taxes because I am a tax accountant and he's a tax attorney. So it made sense. A state tax attorney also.
Yeah, I deal with lots of dead people. So literally death and tax.
Death and taxes.
Well, today's episode brought to you by M. Night Shyamalan.
Well, our team name, me and Neal, is going to be a little morbid as well. I went to the movies early yesterday with Neal's brother, and we saw Mortal Engines by his request. And suffice to say, it's the worst movie I've seen all year. But to make matters worse, the screen actually went down with about 5 minutes left in the movie. So it's incomplete. I've seen about 95% of it. And now I'm just hanging on the edge, waiting to finish it due to my completionist nature. But I don't want to because it's terrible. But Morbid Engines will be our name.
That sounds good. Well, maybe when you see the last 5%, it'll have a complete turnaround. It'll be the most brilliant ending of all time.
One could hope.
Yeah. Before we get started, just want to say thank you to both Laura and William for being a Patreon supporter. We really appreciate all the support over there.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you.
If you guys would like to join them, you can go to patreon.com/trivialitypodcasts, where we have a brand new set of updated perks. And we'd love to get your support over there. New bonus episodes once a month, as well as opportunities to be on the show, whether recorded or as a contested. So,
All right. Well, I think if we're all ready, let's get it started by throwing it to the rules guy.
The rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there'll be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated and will have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorized questions. At the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
All right, ready to get started here, Jeff?
Yeah, I think so. Without further ado, let's start with question 1. William Shakespeare is famous for his wit and for some of the most enduring turns of phrase in the English language. In an exchange between Shylock and Portia, Portia states that as repayment for Antonio's debt, Shylock, as per their agreement, is entitled to a pound of flesh from Antonio, but must do so without drawing blood. In which Shakespearean play does this exchange occur?
We'll just go ahead and lock in.
Yeah, it's Merchant of Venice, right?
Sure.
I'm pretty
Sounds good to
sure
me.
that's the one.
Yeah, lock it in then.
Okay, we're locking in with Merchant of Venice.
Yep, me and Neil had the same inclination, Merchant of Venice.
Yep, and both teams on the board. First question. Way to start strong.
Wasn't Al Pacino in a version
Got
of
one.
Merchant of Venice?
He was. Yeah,
Pound
he
of
played
flesh.
Shylock.
Ooh-ah. Give me that.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
It's like, Al, you're not even saying Shakespeare anymore. It's like, just let him do what he wants.
All right, excellent. On to question 2. We think one of the necessary conditions for supporting life is to have some amount of liquid water on a terrestrial body. If this is true, one of the most promising places we could find life in our own solar system is on which of Jupiter's moons? This moon is believed to contain an entire ocean beneath its 100-kilometer thick frozen crust.
We're just going to go ahead and lock in on this one as well.
We got the 4 Galilean moons. We got Io, which is volcanic. You got Callisto, Ganymede, and Europa. I think Callisto is rocky. Seem to remember Europa having ice, but I think Ganymede also has ice. Been watching The Expanse, and it's like ice covered. So I don't know if there's water
So there's
under
like
that.
a thick frozen crust, so it's known for being icy, right? So
Yeah.
It's
You think
it's occurred to me
Europa,
I should have thought about
Europa
this a little
is
more.
the one that's coming to me the most.
let's go with that. That sounds
Yeah.
like your gut instinct, so that sounds right.
Yeah. Okay, so
We'll
we're
see.
gonna lock in. Yeah, lock in with Europa.
All right. Well, we locked in right away with just a quick guess of Io, but should have thought about it more because they use these locations a lot in the sci-fi anime series Cowboy Bebop, and Ganymede is a water planet on that show. But I don't know if that's correct. But we locked in with Io.
Unfortunately for the team here at Triviality, the correct answer is Europa.
See, I was
Wrong,
gonna,
wrong on all accounts.
the only thing I was going to bring to the table is anytime there's a question about Europa, I think of the production company Europa, which has nothing to do with any. But there is I think a ferry coming out of water, so I should have pulled that. I didn't.
All right, on to question 3 then. In the fall of 1997, Ben Folds 5 had their highest chart-topping hit in the U.S. with what song, which reached number 19 on the U.S. charts and number 6 on the alternative charts?
Yep.
Okay. Hopefully this will work for us today. The strategy, if we know it right away, we're not going to talk about it. We're locked in.
I have no idea.
I just remember the song that he did on Chat Roulette at a concert, and then
Okay, yeah.
I remember he did a certain cover of I think NWA or Eazy-E's song, which will go nameless. Gosh, I cannot name a single Ben Folds 5
I
song.
know. I'm trying to think. I'm like,
All right, what's a Ben Folds 5 sounding name? Know When to Fold 'Em.
yeah, that's a good one. I remember that one.
All right, I'm good with that. That's the best I
Yeah.
can do.
All right. Know when to fold them.
All right.
Final answer.
All right. Well, actually, I was talking about this song a couple days ago. We were talking Christmas songs, and I said, technically, isn't "Brick" a Christmas song? So
okay.
we're gonna go with
yeah.
"Brick."
Yeah, I mean, it does have in the lyrics a specific mention of getting up. It's near Christmas, and
It's a Christmas song.
Brick, yeah, by Ben Folds 5.
Okay, yeah.
I
know
have
that
heard
song.
of that. Terrible.
It's a sad Christmas song.
It's pretty sad. Yeah.
All right, on to question 4. Penning books such as Just a Geek, The Happiest Days of Our Lives, Hunter, and Dead Trees Give No Shelter. Which actor is more likely known for roles in Stand By Me and Toy Soldiers?
I don't. Okay, so Toy Soldiers.
I don't know Toy Soldiers. I can pretty much tell you that cast is Stand By Me, though.
Well, yeah, we're looking at
We
Kiefer.
know those people.
Yeah, Jerry O'Connell.
I was thinking maybe Kiefer. He's like kind of a.
I mean, he's a music guy. I don't know about.
He's a man of many interests.
Who are we forgetting? There's two that I always forget. We could go Kiefer. I don't think he's done.
Is he in Toy Soldiers?
Toy Soldiers is really. I was thinking Small Soldiers, but Toy Soldiers is really messing with me.
All right, we're locking in with Kiefer Sutherland.
All right. Well, we went through all the actors in Stand By Me, and there's one that we're forgetting. But we went through River and Jerry O'Connell and Kiefer, and Ken was like, it sounds like Kiefer might be the right answer because he's a man of many talents. So we also went with Kiefer Sutherland.
Well, unfortunately, Kiefer Sutherland is in Stand By Me, but he's not in Toy Soldiers. If I told you this actor is probably best known for his role in Star Trek The Next Generation, would you have it?
Oh, it's not Jonathan Frakes?
No, it's...
Oh, no, Will Wheaton. Oh, my God.
It's Will Wheaton.
No.
Oh, I knew he was in that too. Oh my god.
I forgot he was in Stand By Me.
I totally forgot about Will Wheaton.
All right, on to question 5. I'm going to give you the first synopsis of a film that shows up on IMDb, and I want you to just give me the film title. All right, this is a 2017 film. A couple's relationship is tested when uninvited guests arrive at their home, disrupting their tranquil existence.
Okay, I've got it.
I think I know what it is too, but you can lock it in unless you want to talk it out.
Let's talk it out just to make sure.
Okay.
Consensus.
I'm trying to think of home invasion movies. Or uninvited guests, though. That's got to be like a cartoon thing, right? Or like little creatures.
I don't know. I don't think in the synopsis of a kid's movie they would put their relationship as tested.
Yeah, that's true. Man, I know I've heard it.
Yeah, it's bugging me. Let's just say the Strangers sequel.
Okay.
What's it called?
Strangers. I don't know if it's Strangers Pray at Night. Strangers 2.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
Okay, so we were down to 2 movies. We thought about Get Out and Mother. I actually did not see the full movie Mother, but I just remember the first 30 minutes of it where Ed Harris shows up and all hell breaks loose. So for me, that was the one that fit the plot most closely. So we locked in with Mother.
All right.
Mother. Yeah, we couldn't think of anything that clever. I think you're 100% right, but we went with the Strangers sequel, which we thought was called The Strangers Pray at Night or something like that. But you're right.
And the first synopsis that shows up on IMDb for this 2017 film is the description of a Darren Aronofsky film, Mother. So it was Mother.
Awesome.
Yeah, once you said it, it made sense because I knew the tagline. I
saw it too,
and I haven't seen Mother. That's if I would have seen it, I think I would have remembered that. But
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well done.
So that's a strange movie, I tell you.
Is it? Yeah. All right, looks like after the first 5 questions, we're playing pretty morbid over here. We only have 20 points, but Death and Taxes has 30, so they're nearly ahead.
We're hot on their tail.
Yeah, we are.
A giant machine city that goes on tank treads for some reason.
Well, it's the giant Millennium Park bean on wheels, and then we're in it and we're following them.
And it eats smaller beans.
Why is it on wheels? We don't know. Doesn't make sense.
All right, question 6. If you're a big fan of nothing but blue skies, your best bet would be to live in what U.S. state, which averages the highest number of sunny days? In fact, it has the entire top 10 list of cities with a population of over 50,000 for sunny days.
I mean, immediately you'd want to go. You start throwing out like Florida because it's the sunshine of the state.
The Sunshine State
of United States.
The weather's actually atrocious there.
It is. Yeah, it's so humid and gross.
A lot of storms though.
Yeah. What's the big sky state? Or that has nothing to do with it, right?
So.
Or like Arizona.
Arizona makes sense. It's always sunny there.
No, it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
Arizona, or I mean, just for my own knowledge, what is the big sky state? Is it Montana or Wyoming? I can't remember. But I don't think those are necessarily sunny. I like Arizona.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So we were kind of thinking about states that would fit the quality. We thought of the blue sky state, which was Montana, but we had to find something that had 10 cities with 50,000 people. So I knew Arizona had a lot of cities. We also thought, Florida is a sunshine state, but there's a lot of rain there. And we thought California has a lot of cities, but a lot of different areas of the state, so Arizona was what we locked in with.
And similarly, we said Arizona.
Yeah, with nearly 200 days of sunshine every year in cities like Tucson and Chandler, it's Arizona.
Yeah, we had
Nice.
basically exactly the same conversation.
Nice poll.
Except we didn't know what
Awesome.
The Big Sky
I
State was.
finally did something.
All right, excellent. On to question 7. Being categorized as a type of anxiety disorder by the DSM-5,
I got this.
which fear is characterized by symptoms of anxiety in situations where the person perceives their environment to be unsafe, with no easy way to escape. It is named for the Greek word for public or gathering spaces.
That's not claustrophobia, right?
No, that would be tight spaces.
So the Greek word for, what was it?
Public or
What's like a hall, not a hall.
public or gathering
I thought
spaces.
I thought it was like agoraphobia.
Oh yeah, agoraphobia is where you don't want to go outside.
So I thought about my Greek classes from college, which have proven extremely useless, except for maybe 2 opportunities a year, and this is one of them. So we locked in with agoraphobia.
And we said the same thing.
Yep, so the agora being a public or gathering space leads to agoraphobia.
Ooh,
Good work, Neil.
yeah. That was good work on you.
I was hoping I could throw you off a little bit by having the full classical definition in there,
Mhm.
because you tend not to think of open spaces as being hard to escape from, but
Right.
No, it was a good trick because we said claustrophobia and then we were like, I don't know about that.
question
Got
8.
'em.
Got me. Question 8. Sharing its name with a classic Beatles song, the movie Can't Buy Me Love stars what 2 actors
yes.
playing the lead roles?
Okay, we are in. Wait, 2 lead actors.
Yeah, because I knew you'd get one.
So it's Patrick Dempsey. It's one of my favorite movies. It's from the 80s.
Of course it is, because a nerd pays someone money to be his girlfriend. It's right up Neil's alley.
That's right. I'm not going to pull her name right now.
She's not like that well known.
No, this is like her big movie.
All right,
Okay.
guys, we are locked in.
So we're agonizing over this because I've never heard of this movie.
Me
Never seen
neither.
it. You guys mentioned it's an actor you like, or it's
Well,
an
Neil's
actor you
just a
get easily.
general fan of romantic comedies, so
Oh,
Oh, so it's a
Okay.
romantic comedy. That changes who we'd go
It's
for.
called Can't
for
Buy
the
Me
second
Love.
person.
Yeah, if you
But,
remember, it was remade with Nick Cannon as Love Don't Cost a Thing in the 2000s.
It was.
oh yeah.
Oh, we're getting more information. Let's just stay silent and wait for more.
Any more tidbits? But yeah, we thought maybe actors that you guys like. So my first thought was Patrick Swayze.
All right, we'll go with him for sure. And then the second
I guess we need it.
person. I'm thinking of You Got Mail and Meg Ryan, just because she's
Yeah.
the first rom-com person that pops into my head.
Yeah, I'm good with Meg Ryan. That's
All right, we'll go with
Great
Meg
guess.
Ryan then.
that's the only one that's coming to me right now.
All right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna lock in with Patrick Swayze and Meg Ryan.
All right.
That'd be an interesting version of this movie, for sure.
Why not?
I'm surprised Jeff didn't go with the Seth Green reference because he plays the lead character's brother who teaches him an African dance to take to the school that you think would bomb, but everyone loves it and joins in because it's an 80s movie. So this movie is one of my favorite movies. I couldn't remember the lead actress's name for the life of me, but it's Amanda Peterson, but we didn't lock in with that. But you were right with Patrick. So Patrick Dempsey is the lead in this movie.
Oh,
And this movie is about him being a nerd who likes a popular girl, and he takes his money spent mowing lawns, $5,000, and he's going to get a telescope. But the girl he likes at a party spills alcohol all over her mom's expensive jacket, and so he offers to buy that jacket for her and clean it if she'll be his girlfriend for 2 weeks. So yeah, it's Patrick Dempsey, and we couldn't get Amanda Peterson.
Also known as McDreamy Hires a Prostitute.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they just hold hands, though.
Oh, okay.
And she's not a prostitute.
She's not, no.
he's the prostitute.
He is, yes.
Yeah, and if you've seen Easy A,
I guess he's the one spending money. So
True. If you've seen Easy A, the ending with the lawnmower where they're riding around with the cowboy hat, that's taken directly from Can't Buy Me Love. That's the ending.
For the record, Neil, the tie-in that I wanted to make reference to was there's a scene in Community where they're trying to set up Abed, and one half of the table only is familiar with the Love Don't Cost a Thing, and the other one is Can't Buy Me Love. And Joe McHale says, we're not Can't Buy Me Love Me or Don't Love Don't Cost a Thing anybody here.
That's funny.
So, yeah, that's great, Joe McHale.
The answer?
Is Amanda Peterson and Patrick Dempsey, as aforementioned. All right, question number 9. Looking at a map, it can feel like the lines on countries have always been drawn that way. But since I've been born, more than 30 countries have been founded. When the country of Yugoslavia broke apart following the Yugoslav wars of the 1990s, 6 countries were eventually formed. Name any 2 of those countries.
Current.
Do you need to talk?
We're elected.
Oh, okay.
Feel free to talk it out.
So I'm thinking we have Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, I think, was formed out of that. Macedonia, I think, came out of that. Not entirely sure.
Yeah, so we only have to pick 2 of them, right? So whichever 2 you feel the most confident on. Yeah.
Okay. I'm most confident on Serbia and Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yeah, I agree with those 2 for sure.
So we're going to lock in with those 2, Serbia and Bosnia and Herzegovina.
All right. And on to Morbid Engines.
Yep. I was pretty sure that when Yugoslavia broke apart, Czechoslovakia was part of that, and also Slovakia, and Czechoslovakia became known as Czech Republic, and now it's called Czechia, and Slovakia is our other answer.
All right, so the 6 countries that formed following the Yugoslav wars, not all at once, because Serbia and Montenegro were one country, but now they are 2. The other ones are Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Macedonia, and Slovenia.
So it wasn't even close.
So you didn't get a single one of them. But good news for Death and Taxes, they are getting 10 points for that.
Woohoo! Great.
All right, and the final question in round 1. Anna Coleman Ladd was an American artist and sculptor who reshaped the face of prosthetics, following her work with disfigured soldiers injured in which war? As a way to further show the brutality of the war, she depicted a decayed corpse on a barbed wire fence in a war memorial commissioned by the Manchester-by-the-Sea American Legion.
Elected.
That was my thought.
Barbed wire makes me think of World War One. Guess could be World War Two. My gut is telling me World War One, though.
Yeah, we can go
What do
with
you
that. The only thing that I thought they mentioned, it was funded by Manchester by the Sea American Legion. I wonder if that's them trying to give us a hint. I just know Manchester by the Sea is in Massachusetts. Yeah, I guess we can go with World War One if that's.
That's what my gut's telling me.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go with World War One, locking it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, without much discussion, Ken and I just looked at each other and signed World War One, and I felt pretty good about it. So we went with World War One as well.
Going with the gut today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did the Manchester by the Sea was more of a flavor thing. I just added that as part of the larger backstory to the to the exhibit she had put up. But yeah, no, it is World War One. So well done to both teams.
All right.
She's really interesting. Look her up. I think maybe Vox did a video on her not too long ago. That's pretty interesting. So
Yeah, that is
cool.
interesting. Probably a lesser known American hero here.
Yeah.
she actually has no commendations from the U.S., but I think she's won both French and was it Serbian Medals of Honor? I can't remember.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, going into the swing round, still a tight game, but Death and Taxes are taking a slight lead. So it's 70 points for Death and Taxes, and Morbid Engines still chugging along on Diesel. We're at 50.
All right, so the swing round today is going to be pretty straightforward. So what we're going to do today is I'm looking for the top 10 countries by population's number of internet users. So what we're looking for is the list of countries by number of internet users, and I want the top 10 countries. And I think I'm going to do a little differently today. I'm going to do 2 points if they're on the list and 2 points if they're in the right number slot. So
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
it's a little less than
right.
our normal 5 points apiece. But
Well,
and again,
I'm
this is by sheer number of internet users, not percentage.
Okay.
So we went through a bunch of countries trying to figure out where they had large populations and also a lot of internet users, and this is what we came up with. Number 1 is China, number 2 is India, 3 Brazil, 4 Japan, 5 South Korea, 6 US, 7 Russia, 8 UK, 9 France, and 10 Germany.
All right.
Well, for the most part, we have many of the same countries as you guys.
Oh, cool.
I'm a little.
Maybe that's a good sign.
I'm a little perturbed here, and I'm feeling a little morbid, as the word of the day, because of all of our answers here that you're about to hear, Ken did not come up with Japan.
Come on, man. What do you want from me?
I didn't even think of Japan, and of course, you should have been right away Japan, number one, but you didn't, and we're going to lose points because of that now.
They're not number one anyway.
Part of your brand. You got to, come on.
Sorry.
All right, anyway, I'll let, Ken, you take the first 5, and I'll take the last 5.
Sure. We start with China. Then we went USA, as it has the third greatest population. Felt maybe it was a little bit more internet users than India, with the second most population at 3. 4 would be Russia, and then 5 would be Brazil. Take it away.
And then we went Australia, number 7, Canada, number 8, Germany, number 9, France, and number 10, UK.
Okay. Now you're all gonna have to help me out a little bit and score yourselves. I'll give you enough time to, because I just couldn't write the list fast enough. So I'll give you the list.
2 points if it's in the right slot, and 2 points if
you
it's
have it.
if it's
So,
on
yeah.
the list.
So yeah, +2 your country, and then just go in rank order. Cool.
Okay.
All right. First country, unsurprisingly, everybody got it. 800 million internet users, China. Second, very surprising, I'm sure to some of you, India with 543 million.
All right.
So it's only 40% of their population, but since their population's so high. United States comes in third, followed by Brazil, number 5, Japan, which is the highest on this list as a percentage. 92% of people in Japan have internet access, 117 million. Following Japan at number 6 is Russia. Number 7 is Mexico. Number 8, Germany. Number 9, I don't think this was mentioned, is Indonesia.
Oh,
And the 10th and final, I'm sorry, I did lie. Japan has 92%. This country, 94% of the population of the United Kingdom.
Nice.
Rounds out the list at number 10.
all right.
So yeah, I thought this list was pretty interesting. It's kind of surprising. So like, yeah, India is number 2, even though only 40% of people have internet access. Indonesia is also a surprise. That's only 25%, but because it's nearly 300 million people in Indonesia, it's or 250 million. It's still a huge number of internet users.
All right, well, after the swing round, things are still head-to-head. It looks like Team Morbid Engines picked up an extra 20 points to bring our total to 70, and Death and Taxes picked up an extra 20 points as well, bringing them to 90. So still same scores, basically.
All right, so following the swing round, we'll kick it off into round 2 with the first question. If I saw this actor on the street, I'd only be able to say, hey, you were that guy in the Star Trek movies and 13 Days and I, Robot. I'm normally pretty bad at actor names anyways, but this gentleman is definitely one of the more recognizable supporting actors in Hollywood. And the Star Trek films in question here are of the newer franchise.
Okay.
All right, I'm just going to name a bunch of actors, so...
Just let me think about it for a second.
Okay. I'm going to write them down then.
Hey, how about that guy who plays Admiral Pike in Star Trek?
Admiral Pike. Which
The
one's that?
older guy. Like, he either looks like he should play a politician or like a military guy.
I'm trying to remember Admiral Pike.
He like meets Kirk in the bar. He's like, I knew your father.
Oh, that's who it is. It's it's the dude who played the president in National Treasure. Bruce Greenwood. Got it. We're in.
I think we should go with, the first person you mentioned, he played McCoy. You know that.
Carl Urban.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't Faramir. He was Éomer in Lord of the Rings, and I think he was someone in the Thor movies. But I've never seen a movie that he actually starred in.
So that sounds like a good guess. I'm comfortable with going with that.
Okay.
right.
We're going to lock in with Carl Urban.
Carl Urban should be the mascot for your team, like Death and Taxes. Like,
Not a bad guess. He did star in Dread and Doom, unfortunately.
unfortunately, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ragnarok.
Dread was good.
Dread was great. Yeah.
Ed.
Well, I said I was thinking about the Star Trek cast, and I go, "What about the old guy who plays Admiral Pike?" And he's like, "I knew your father back in the day." And then Neal said,
Yeah, and then I said it's Bruce Greenwood. He was definitely in 13 Days. He was the president of National Treasure, which wasn't mentioned. But in I, Robot, he was one of the villains that Will Smith told I'm allergic to bull. So, yeah, Bruce Greenwood.
Yeah, Bruce Greenwood.
Oh, man.
If you don't know the name, look up the face, and you'll definitely know what he's been in. So,
Most recently, or not most recently, but 2 years ago, he was in Gerald's Game on Netflix, the Stephen King adaptation.
All right, we're feeding a little fuel into our engine's furnace here.
Did you eat a smaller city?
Yep, we ate a smaller city.
All right. On to question 2. In 1961, radio astronomer Frank Drake presented a formula, now known as the Drake equation, that estimates the number of potential intelligent civilizations in the entire universe. In contrast to this formula, which famous physicist conceived that there was an apparent contradiction between the lack of evidence and the high probability estimates for the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations?
This question's hitting me in my feelings.
What was that about?
What's the Drake song?
So the interesting thing here is what Jeff's describing is a disparity between the actual evidence and then the high probability estimates. It's
From
not
the Drake, from the previous scientist.
It's not necessarily saying that this person doesn't think that there's aliens.
Right.
So I think when you talk about famous physicists, you're talking Einstein, Carl Sagan, and Stephen Hawking.
Mm-hmm.
I think all three of them probably thought maybe aliens were in play there. I'll go Hawking or Sagan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about this area, but I do know when Hawking would make statements, he always would answer things when people would posit questions. So maybe more so than Sagan. I don't know.
All right, let's go Stephen Hawking.
All right, we're locked in.
Yeah, we're locked in.
Yeah, so when I think of intelligent life and physicist, the first name that comes to mind is Enrico Fermi, who I think, I can't remember what exactly he said. It's like if there was intelligent life out there, it would have contacted us already. But yeah, I think it's Enrico Fermi.
That's not a bad guess either.
Yeah.
We just named a couple physicists of the era. We landed on Stephen Hawking.
All right, so
Not to imply that he doesn't think that there's intelligent life, just to say that maybe he posited that the evidence is not quite supporting the strong theory that there is alien life.
So the proponent of this apparent paradox was basically like, yeah, I think there's a high probability that there are aliens out there, and if there's such a high probability, why haven't we discovered them yet? And that was Enrico Fermi, the
Good
Fermi
job.
paradox.
Yeah.
Good job on that one.
Thank you.
Question 3 in the round. With songs such as Ain't Nobody Home, To Know You Is to Love You, and The Thrill Is Gone, all appearing in the U.S. Top 50 charts, which famous blues musician left an indelible mark on the history of rock and roll?
So his clue of indelible mark on rock and roll, that it'd be someone bluesy that came into the
Let's just
mainstream.
talk about blues.
So I mean, you have like
B.B.
B.B. King, yeah, Buddy Guy. I mean, you could
I
say
think Buddy Guy.
it's got to be someone popular enough who would have been in the top 50, top 100.
I would go B.B. King here.
Yeah, he seems to be the most famous out of all of them. That was my gut, because I was just thinking of like who would have the mainstream appeal of all these guys.
So I thought I
Yeah.
the blues people.
Yeah, we're just listing blues people.
Which one had that one song that went dun 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 dun?
Da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, the only person that's coming to my mind right now is B.B. King.
All right, let's go with that.
We said the same.
Yeah, the most popular song of his by far, "The Thrill Is Gone," is belongs to B.B. King. So it's his highest
Great.
chart topper, and it's definitely his most famous song. He worked with artists like Eric Clapton, and he had a really great career. So
Yeah, great artist.
Yeah.
no,
Awesome.
well done, both
Great
teams.
job on that one.
You guys are staying neck and neck with us. We're just the same spot, just moving sideways. We're like one of those
Close
old
one.
horse games at the carnival. Neck and neck.
All right, on to question 4. I want you to give me the name of the movie that best matches this description. A chronically depressed Matthew Perry, working as a screenwriter, desperately tries to cure his condition when he meets the girl of his dreams.
We're locked in. See, it's a romantic comedy. You can't do this to me, Jeff.
Is it a romantic comedy?
Oh yeah.
Was he in Fools Rush In?
I haven't seen it. I don't know. So many romantic comedies.
Gosh. The only reason I know Fools Rush In is because I see it on my Roku all the time for some reason. It's like, now available. And it's
Let's go with that.
I think it's Matthew Perry on there. Someone.
They're like, somebody please watch Fools Rush In.
Yeah, that's the
All
only
right.
movie I can think of with him in it. I know him
That's a
from
good
Friends,
guess as
but-
any.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll go with Fools Rush In.
All right. And Neal was very confident on this one. What did you guys say?
I too was confident in Fools Rush In.
Neal?
Yeah, that's not it. I forgot.
Because he's a real estate developer.
It
and
looks
Fools
like
Rush In.
we were fools
Oh.
and we rushed in.
I think that's true.
Because did you figure out the movie, Neal?
No, when you say it, I'll know it.
It is Numb.
Yeah.
Numb.
I don't know
Okay.
it.
I was
Never
so quick.
seen it.
So quick to go to that DVD box with Salma Hayek.
So, yeah, unfortunately, in this case, yeah, Fools rushed in, and at least on this side of the table
Is
next
that
to
a
me.
comedy?
Numb? No, it's not a... I mean,
This is late era.
I
Matthew
almost
Perry.
never describe anything that Matthew Perry's in aside from Friends as a comedy, but
You always pick like the most random library movie of. Oh yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah.
So
with
what
Kevin
does
Pollak.
the girl of his dreams do? Is she a psychologist or something, or what?
I don't remember from that one.
Are you talking about Fools Rush In?
Oh,
No.
from Numb.
No, so Numb. It's funny. The tagline just says a romantic comedy about a guy with hang-ups and the women who love him. It's Mary Steenburgen and Kevin Pollak. Yeah,
It's like a way better cast than the
Alright.
movie deserves.
yeah.
Question 5. What American luggage and handbag design company, founded by Barbara Bacagard and Patricia Miller in 1982, has its home in Fort Wayne, Indiana? The company produces a variety of products including women's handbags, luggage, and travel items, in addition to fashion, home accessories, and unique gifts.
Yeah, that's a good. Vera Bradley's good. So not only luggage.
It doesn't sound like it's like a luxury item, you know?
Yeah.
Here.
So with Vera Bradley, it seems like a Midwest thing. Like it's really, really loud and bright for no reason.
Yeah, I'll
wanna go with
trust all
that?
Yeah.
All right,
I have nothing.
So we're locking in with Vera Bradley.
I feel like we'd be a great pub trivia team because we're always either on the answer together or right near it, or one of us gets it. So Ken immediately was like, my favorite handbag designer is Vera Bradley, and I said, I can't disagree with you. So we went Vera Bradley.
I may have cheekily omitted part of Barbara's name because her full name is Barbara Bradley Bacagard, and that is Vera Bradley.
Cool.
Nice.
Wow.
Great job.
That's right.
Thank you.
Let's do a score recap. Let's see. Each team adds another 30 to their scores this round so far. And that brings us to Neal.
That would be 100 to 120.
Nice close game.
I know we haven't inched up on them. We have to take.
Well, we got one and then we missed one that they got, so.
and then we both rushed in foolishly.
Yep.
Death and Taxes has the slight edge then going into the second half of round 2. All right, I'm going to give you the opening title card. I'm going to read the opening title card to a film, and I want you to tell me what movie it is. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to be a long, long time ago in a galaxy far away, just for the record.
And now we've learned Jeff's movie tastes here are almost straight to video movies that no one's heard of famous actors.
I just was
It's appreciated,
going
though.
for some variety.
Okay.
All right. Sometime in the 23rd century, the survivors of war, overpopulation, and pollution are living in a great domed city sealed away from the forgotten world outside. Here, in an ecologically balanced world, mankind lives only for pleasure, freed by the servo mechanisms which provide everything. There's just one catch. Life must end at 30, unless reborn in the fiery ritual of
Oh
carousel.
my gosh.
I know this.
The fiery,
The fiery ritual of what?
Carousel.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I heard about this on a different podcast, I think.
I've never seen it, so all I'm going off of is I thought Logan's Run had that age caveat.
Yeah, I was trying to think of other movies that had the age limit, and then the fiery carousel thing is kind of throwing me off. But living in a dome, I thought Logan's Run was in space though. Yeah, I can't think of anything off right now.
Let's go with Logan's Run.
That's fine.
Do you remember
think
it being
it's
an
a-
old movie or a recent movie?
It was an older one, but I think that sounds right for some
It's-
reason.
Elysium came out probably 5 years ago or 6 years ago. It was Neil Blomkamp.
Why
Gosh.
did I think it was
Is it
older then?
Suspiria? I think there's a like a
It has like a name like that for
body
sure.
horror movie, and they just
I
remade
think
it.
Elysian, like I want to go with that because that for some reason that sparked something. But
Gosh, yeah,
what was the other one you were going to mention? The
uh,
one that starts with S?
Suspiria.
That sounds good too. Like, do you know anything about that one?
Oh, it had something. I've seen the previews for the remake, and it had something to do with modeling and like body horror.
Hmm.
I've never seen the original. I have no
You know
idea
what?
what it's about.
Let's go with that one.
Okay,
Because
yeah,
I think they had something to do with like, I don't know, they'll tell us, I guess, but they have to be reborn at 30. Do they use like the body parts for something else? Remodeling? I don't know. But we
yeah.
can go with that one.
Okay, I'm good with
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
We're gonna lock in with Suspiria.
So Suspiria actually was about dance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like witchcraft, right?
Yeah, and the remake of the Dario Argento movie. But Ken, we were trying to think of things. I'll let him talk about it. But the movie, it actually is. It's funny because Hollywood's been trying to remake this for like 25 years, and they can't get anyone to actually get this movie made. But I'll let Ken take it.
Yeah, I've not seen this movie. I just knew somewhere in my brain tucked away that the movie Logan's Run had that age limit thing attached to it. I don't even know what the movie's about. I just for some reason knew that.
Yeah, the title card basically says the plot to the whole movie, and not really, but it definitely gets it going. That is Logan's Run.
Oh man.
So-
Oh man.
Well done, you guys.
Heard of it,
They've definitely been trying to remake it. It has a young Michael York, who you might know as
Yep.
Basil from Austin Powers,
Basil
yeah.
Exposition.
and a young Farrah Fawcett,
Yeah.
and Jenny Agata
wow.
for anybody who lives in the UK.
Speaking of Michael York, I just love that character was called Basil Exposition, and he just spouted exposition that whole movie. It's just brilliant. So good. I have to rewatch that original one. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, so on to question 7. This 1991 Queen single is also a common phrase whose origins are uncertain, but it's believed that the phrase had origins in the circus.
I know they did a photo shoot. There's video footage of him doing a photo shoot, and he's like really sick. I think it was the last public appearance he had, and it might have been for that album, maybe.
They did some posthumous releases.
Oh, that's possible too. Yeah. All right, we are uncertain ourselves, but we are locked in.
I used to listen to the Queen's greatest hits album as a kid, and I think like the last track on there was "The Show Must Go On," and that seemed fittingly circus-y. So we locked in with "The Show Must Go On."
Yep. We just had to guess on this one. We said the greatest show on earth, but once again, we think we're gonna lose our advantage and catching up to you guys.
So the song was the 12th and final track on their 1991 album Innuendo, written mainly by Brian May, but the song chronicles the effort of Freddie Mercury continuing to perform despite approaching the end of his life. And this is "The Show Must Go On."
Good job.
What do you know when he did pass away? Because it's very close to that, right?
He passed away in November
Yeah.
of 91.
Oh, it was that same year. Okay.
Very close.
On to question 8. Which famous American short story writer and Civil War veteran wrote An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge? He also wrote the following quote, and I just like the quote, which is why I wrote the question. "Edible, to eat and wholesome to digest, as a worm to a toad to a snake to a pig to a man, and a man to a worm."
This is one of my favorite short films of all time. It was on an episode of The Twilight Zone. It was also its own short film. It's from France. And I'm just trying to think of the guy's name who wrote the short story.
His Civil War veteran.
Yeah. So the story of Owl Creek Bridge. I mean, it's so old, doesn't really matter. But it's basically a guy is going to be hanged by the Northern soldiers. He's a Confederate soldier, and he's going to be hanged. And then he drops down off a bridge, Owl Creek Bridge, and then he escapes because the rope breaks, and he goes to find his family. And then, spoiler alert, it's one of the greatest endings of all time. He goes to his family, and right before he gets to his family, he feels his neck tighten, and he was reliving it, thinking of like his dream, and then he hangs. So it's Ambrose. His first name's Ambrose. I'm just trying to think of his last name. because I don't even know this guy's work other than this. This is the only thing I know of his. I have no idea of his other poetry. Ambrose.
Yeah, I just heard about this guy on a podcast too. It starts with a B.
Ambrose Bowden Brown.
Don't get hung up on that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is a B. Ambrose. Let me think. Ambrose.
He was like a general. Like he was not just like a foot soldier. He was a.
I heard
know. this whole story about him.
Black.
Well, Ambrose Pierce or
with a B, because then you said a B. Ambrose Pierce or Ambrose Bierce? Beers.
I can't remember.
I don't even know. We don't have to spell it. So, let's go because you said it was with a B. So, beer.
Bryce.
Beers.
Bright.
Ambrose Bierce. Bryce. Okay, we don't have to spell it. So we'll say Ambrose Bierce.
Sounds a little made up.
Ambrose Bierce.
The Bears.
We could do it mute.
Yeah, we're good on mute.
I think they're playing today.
They've locked in. So.
All right. So we didn't have any names coming to us immediately. The only thing that I could think of after thinking of short story writers from around that time, I don't even know if he wrote short stories, but I know he had kind of a bitter wit, would be Ambrose Bierce. So we locked in with Ambrose Bierce.
So we went through like this long conversation because it's like one of my favorite short films of all time.
Okay, just a brief aside, and then you feel free to
go ahead.
Tell your story. I sat here stone-faced for 4 minutes, just in agony as they went through like 45 different matriculations of this name to finally like try and slur together a name that they thought might be right. And let's see what Neal said.
Well, yeah, I previously said something about the short film, which I'm sure you guys will hear it later. But yeah, we knew it was. I knew it was Ambrose, and I couldn't think of the name. And then Ken was like, I think it starts with a B. And then we went through the alphabet of B, and then the next letter, and then we were like, could it be Pierce? And I was like, well, you said B, so what about Bierce or Beers? And we're like, we're not going to be able to spell it. So we said, how about Bierce? So we said Ambrose Bierce. Like the Bears.
Pronunciation poorly aside, I will accept the correct answer of Ambrose Bierce.
Nice work.
That was some serious subconscious effort there.
Like, I was just like, I hoped you didn't get it.
I kind of remembered it sounded like Pierce.
Because
like
Neal wrote the alphabet out and then it was going through and he's like, Biersch, and he just glanced over it and kept moving, and I was like, if they don't get it, that stays in the final edit. So.
You can't make that up.
Oh my god.
Strange Occurrence at Triviality Bridge.
Thanks for the episode title.
All right, on to question number 9. What is the name of the novel written by Franz Kafka, published posthumously, that centers around the story of Joseph K., a man arrested and prosecuted by a remote, inaccessible authority? The novel was published as an unfinished work, although its final chapter does bring things to a sort of close.
We're locked in.
We are locked in.
So I have gotten this one wrong before.
Oh no.
Do you know?
Are you having an existential crisis right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Franz Kafka. The one thing that came to mind, of course, was Metamorphosis,
Right.
which obviously isn't right.
Right. That was how I got it wrong last time.
It was coming in your head. Yeah. Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah, I know that that's not the one. A man arrested.
Does the trial sound familiar? I seem to remember.
Oh, that does sound right.
So, yeah, we're locking in with the trial.
Well, we just can't catch up to you. We want the trial as well.
Ken's a huge fan of Kafka, so I made sure to write this question. And no, you are correct. It is the trial.
Hey, Jeff, that
Nice
question was
work.
very Kafka-esque.
It wasn't.
All right,
though.
I avenged myself there.
It was about Franz Kafka.
Never get it wrong again.
I'm trying to remember if Orson Welles did a adaptation of
the Beers.
of the Bears. Yes, he did. He did do an adaptation of The Trial. I was trying to figure that out. Yep.
All right, and the final question in the regulation, question number 10. Eastwatch by the Sea and the Shadow Tower are two of more than a dozen fortifications which abut which fictional rampart?
I mean, yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
You guys
I
locked
don't
in?
know. Yeah. What was that? A butt?
Abut.
A butt? A
Yes,
boot?
abut.
Okay.
Also, this is an adjunct answer. We're elected.
Okay, so I think a super easy one to guess for them if they don't actually have it, but it's just the wall, I think, right?
Oh, yeah, that sounds right.
The wall, yeah, from
Yeah,
Song of Ice and Fire.
right,
Locked in.
yeah.
Yep, we said the same structure, and we also put Castle Black as an aside there. Wall.
It is you had written the wall, so I will accept the wall for credit.
Of Game of Thrones fame.
It is. Also, the 1979 Pink Floyd album, of which every single question in this whole game was a track listing.
No way.
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
So Patrick Dempsey, was that their
No,
big hit?
it was either in the question or that one's probably the most of a reach. That one is based on the song "Young Lost."
That is a big reach. That's a big reach. That's very very well done, Jeff.
Where does Bierce
Wow.
come in?
Yeah,
All
where does
right.
where do
Where der Bierce?
The quote about the worms
Okay.
is from lyrics in the Pink Floyd song. So
Cool.
where can you find the worms and the bears?
The Bierce.
I
We're
don't
gonna have
think,
some Bierce and watch the Bierce after this.
but just in case you're curious,
Nice.
So I don't believe after regulation we gained any ground here. I believe scores going into the final round are 140 for Morbid Engines and holding the lead, Death and Taxes with 160.
So the first question in the final is about planes, trains, or automobiles. Second question is about a little bit of magic. The third question is about famous islanders. Question 4 is about the lion and the wolf. And question 5, I forgot to write a category, so I'm going to say it's all about the optics. All right. All of the wagers are locked in. So let's start with the category in planes, trains, or automobiles. In planes, trains, or automobiles, what auto manufacturer has the naming rights for not one, but 2 NFL stadiums? Question number 2 is in a little bit of magic. Beginning its development in the 1930s as a way to compress speech, which technology has found its way into music, featuring in songs like Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight, Daft Punk's Robot Rock, and the opening of Bruno Mars' 24 Karat Magic? In famous islanders, which famous New York Jet was a 7-time Pro Bowler and one of the highest paid cornerbacks in the history of football? The Lion and the Wolf. Francis Wolff and Alfred Lyon were jazz producers who founded the famous Blue Note jazz label in the 1930s. Some of the most famous musicians they signed included Herbie Hancock, Dexter Gordon, and which artist who gave jazz the standard moment's notice and the most brilliant cover of My Favorite Things, a clever subversion of the original source material. And on to number 5 and a little bit of optics. Donna Strickland is a Canadian optical physicist and 2018 Nobel Prize winner. The Nobel Prize in Physics in 2018 was awarded to both her and her associate Gerard Moreau for the invention of chirped pulse amplification, a university they discovered as professors at the University of Waterloo in Canada. What kind of device is chirped pulse amplification used in?
Okay, so it looks like both teams are locked in. We'll have Jeff go through the questions one more time and have our answers. See what happened here.
All right. The first question was in planes, trains, and automobiles. And again, I was asking what auto manufacturer has the naming rights for not one but 2 NFL stadiums. Let's go to the low wager of 0 on this one. We will start with Morbid Engines.
Yeah, so this one, we know that there's I'm not speaking correctly. We know that there's a Mercedes-Benz Arena dome in New Orleans.
Yes,
and then and then this year's Super Bowl in 2019 Super Bowl is going to be in the brand new Atlanta stadium, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So we said Mercedes-Benz.
Right. And
We also said Mercedes-Benz. I got my Saints shirt on today. Who dat?
yeah, and I was in Atlanta earlier this year, and I remember seeing the new stadium there and remembering it was Mercedes-Benz, so that's why we went with it.
All right, and so they had wagered 5 on that. So both teams with credit. So they'll be gaining 5 over there at Death and Taxes. And Morbid Engines, nothing gained, but you did have the right answer. So well done. On to question 2. That was in a little bit of magic. So I wanted to know, beginning in the 1930s, as a way to compress speech, what technology found its way into pop music. So I will start with Death and Taxes. They wagered 5 on this one.
We said auto-tune.
All right. And Morbid Engines wagering 30. So hopefully they got it right. What did you guys say?
We said the vocoder.
All right. So it is both a technology and a, I guess, musical instrument. Depends on how it's done, how it's played, which is what caused a lot of confusion here in the studio. But it is the vocoder. So you guys have it right.
And just to be clear, it is the thing where you put the tube in your mouth and you go wah, 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 wah.
I think
Yeah.
there's several iterations.
But
of it.
it's also-
probably any vocal sound that's reproduced by selecting a tone on an instrument.
It's also, well, it's a technology that they were originally using as a way to get like data transmissions across. So it's literally stands for vocal encoder. And you can do it live through basically
Let's do it live.
you can do it live through like a tube and process it live, or like Ken was suggesting, you can basically run a MIDI file over it
Oh, I
and
see.
compress the speech digitally. So
I prefer the tube. I want to do a whole episode with a vocoder in my mouth. Wah, 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 wah.
I think the answer is beer.
that was a much better one. Sorry.
Call it Triviality Comes Alive.
All right. And question 3 had to do with famous islanders. Ken wanted to know if I was being a little cheeky when I did the categories. This one I certainly was. So which famous New York Jet was a 7-time Pro Bowler and one of the highest paid cornerbacks in the history of football? So low wagers here go to Death and Taxes. They wagered 0. But what did you have to say?
I thought you said quarterback for the longest time, so I said Joe Namath and was really happy about it, but then I realized you were saying cornerback, and I got all sad. But we still said Joe Namath.
All right. And for a reasonable 10 points, what did you have to say over at Morbid Engines?
Hopefully Matt's listening and is proud of me, but this cornerback...
He's not.
On
either
he
account.
doesn't listen.
He doesn't care. That's right. He doesn't listen. I believe that his nickname is the Island because no one wants to throw to him. And I believe that's Revis, Daryl Revis. So we went with Revis as our official answer.
Yeah, known for his man-to-man coverage that would strand receivers out on an island. That is Revis Island for Daryl Revis, sorry. So you get 10 points on that one. Sorry for the quarterback confusion. But,
it's fine. Still wouldn't have gotten it.
No.
All right. The fourth question in the final round was about the wolf and the lion. These are, of course, Francis Wolff and Alfred Lion. Why would I be talking about Game of Thrones again? And their jazz, Blue Note jazz label in the 1930s. And who was the artist that they signed who gave us Moment's Notice and My Favorite Things? So I'll start again. I'll actually go this time to Morbid Engines. They wagered 10.
Well, my favorite thing that this musician put out was Giant Steps, but
Yeah.
throw it to you.
So Blue Note, my favorite place to go check out jazz in New York City. Sorry, the stupid commercial.
Not to be confused with the Brown Note, which is an entirely different club.
Ew.
Which I also frequent. But the Blue Note, one of my favorite musicians, my friend James, his favorite saxophone player, John Coltrane.
All right. And with 5 points on the table, what did you say over at Death and Taxes?
Oh, we said Louis Armstrong because for some reason I can really think of him singing favorite things.
Yeah, it's a really great piece. And but that you are correct. It is John Coltrane. I thought maybe Blue Train or Giant Steps might be a little too easy for that one, knowing the jazz inclinations in the room. So, all right. Last question in the game. This was the 5th question and final round. And this was all about optics. And we're talking about Donna Strickland, a recent Nobel Prize winner for her work in optical physics. And let's see. There was nothing on the table for Death and Taxes. Why don't I start with you? What was your answer? What device is chirped pulse amplification used in?
Will had a cool idea for this. Hearing aid is what we put down.
Okay. And 10 points on the line for Morbid Engines. What did you say?
Well, that's a great answer. I couldn't get the optics part out of my head, and we went with a telescope.
I hate to say neither team is going to be receiving credit for this. Her work revolves around the ability to get lasers like tens of orders of magnitude higher in power. So
okay.
Yeah, it was like from terawatts to petawatts of power. So her development and breakthrough with Gerard Moreau brought a whole new field of study to lasers.
Now we can finally make death beams.
I was going to say, so Dr. Evil is going to be calling.
Yeah.
Lasers.
Frickin' lasers.
attached to their heads. So, yeah.
Attached to the head of Ambrose Bierce.
Who knew before this game started there would be not one but two Austin Powers references?
I did, baby.
I mean, if you work hard enough at anything, you can make it work. So, all right. So, a final round have been tabulated, and we've got Death and Taxes with a score of 155, which is very nice, very respectable score. That might be the highest like Jeff score ever. So. Right, it's graded on a curve because I'm usually such a brutal hard ass.
Yeah,
and shockingly, Team Morbid Engines, they were trailing the whole game until the final round, brought their score all the way up to 190. So they are today's cream of the crop.
I am the cream.
You know,
Good job, guys.
thank you.
Congrats,
Great
guys. Good
job to you too.
I almost feel now that that was like the conclusion to the movie.
Right, there's that one. I'm sure there's one main mortal engine country, and it's following someone.
There's your Rosebud moment.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, right. I just feel a sense of like the ending of that movie was just kind of hanging on my chest. Now I just feel the relief.
It's cathartic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a great game. You guys, we said it earlier, great team together, but also I feel like we were all in the same universe. Like if we were all one pub trivia team, it would have been great because we were all like there. You either had the answer, or you had it, or we had it, or we had it together, and it was great.
Right.
So any parting words or tax advice, you guys?
I mean, for us currently the new year rolling around, it's about time I have to start worrying about that. So
Yeah, so I have a podcast starting up.
Nice.
With my boyfriend Chris. It's called We Watch All the Movies. We're going to watch every movie from 1999.
Wow.
And record podcast episodes about it. So it should be fun. I haven't seen pretty much all of them. So that'll be cool.
Is that the
Shout out
Matrix
to-
year?
it is.
Ooh.
Yep.
What a treat.
Yeah, some say 1999 is one of the best years.
That's why
1993,
we chose
1999.
it.
94 is the other one that's
94,
really
yeah,
solid.
94,
Yeah, like
yeah.
Shawshank and
Yeah.
I was,
Jurassic
sorry,
Park.
I thought that was 1993.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We watch all the movies. And we'll see you there soon.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting.
That sounds fun.
Congratulations on the podcast.
We watch all the movies.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, it was a pleasure having you on. Thank you for being a Cruiserweight champion on Patreon. And I know me personally, I'm looking forward to your Magnolia episode, and Ken will be looking forward to the Matrix and Jeff the Fight Club episode. So,
Oh, yes.
and William, what about you? Any words for you?
Oh, just shout out to my lovely wife Betsy and our amazing dog Ziggy.
That's
As
a good
far
move.
as like interesting stuff that I'd like to plug, I don't really have too much. Just a Twitter page called @I'vePetThatDog, wherein a 10-year-old boy goes around petting dogs and documents all the dogs he's pet, and it's really heartwarming and the feel-good story of the year.
I could get into that.
Anything with dogs, I'm all in.
I saw a video of like puppies learning to swim the other day, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen."
That entire part that he just recited was very heartwarming.
It was.
Shout out to the wife, to the dog, and then a dog petting Twitter page.
And we appreciate you being an Intercontinental Champion on Patreon as well. And for both of you, the support means a lot, and it helps keep our show going and us doing it. So we thank you.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. This was great. A lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad that we could have you on today. We really appreciate it. And I think without further ado, that's basically our whole show. So on behalf of
That's the game.
That's the game. On behalf of Ken and Neal and our guests, Will and Laura, that was Triviality. All
I
right.
had my first kiss to John Coltrane too. There's a little Neil story.
Did you really?
I think so.
Oh,
Pretty
my,
sure.
my first kiss was during Truth or Dare. And I picked Truth, and just we'll have to figure out how I had to deal with that. So
To be fair, the right John Coltrane song for that is Body and Soul. So
Oh.